I've got my notes ready. You guys know I have to have my notes. I don't sound like a weirdo. More so of a weirdo, let's be honest.
Notes are good.
Notes are good.
You are good to go.
Alrighty. So we are going to be live streaming here, and welcome everybody to Kansas City Oasis. We are the Kansas City premier alternative to faith community. My name is Julie Randolph, and I will be your hostess and MC for our program today. So glad you made it out. We have a lot of really interesting topics to cover today, as well as some amazing musicians. We are going to be joined by Mike Dillon and James Singleton, playing a duo of music awesomeness for us. David Ricks is our community moment speaker from our very own KC area. And our featured speaker will be Mark Philipp, and he is a comedian who will be joining us a little bit later on, closer to 11:30. So stay tuned for all of that. If any of you are tuning in that are not familiar, or those of you who just love the reminder, Oasis was founded with 5 core values. People are more important than beliefs. Meaning comes from making a difference. Reality is known through reason. Human hands solve human problems, and be accepting and be accepted. I do not want to delay any of our music enjoyment any further. So Mike and James, please take us away.
That's awesome.
Wow, thank you guys so much. It was happy and it was delicate, but it was also cool. There's so many adjectives, all the adjectives. Wonderful job. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, stay tuned and we were going to be having more from Mike and James as our program continues. Moving on next, I did have a couple of announcements and Nikki will be joining me to help with some announcements. Let me pull my notes up. You may already know today is what we celebrate for Father's Day. You guys had the pleasure of dealing with me on Mother's Day as well, so my speech is the same. This is kind of an opportunity to, if you have a father in your life or a grandfather, uncles, aunts that served in that fatherly role for you. We always encourage you guys to reach out and say Happy Father's Day. If you did not have that relationship in your life, we encourage you to take a few moments and reflect back on any family members, coaches, teachers, shop owners, library workers, neighbors, child cares, child givers, friends, parents, and so many more that we know have influenced our lives. So happy Father's Days to those of you who are fathers, and we wish you the best. If you are not able to spend Father's Day celebrating with your own, we hope that you do find a way to enjoy and have some happy memories. I'm going to pass it over to Nikki to make a couple announcements about the rest of the stuff we have going on this month.
Thank you, Julie. And I just wanted this morning to recognize two things, because as we all know that, or maybe you don't know, June is recognized as Pride Month internationally, more or less, where we celebrate the LGBTQ plus community. And we also have in the month of June, Juneteenth, which was yesterday. June 19th is the celebration of the emancipation of slaves in the United States. And now it's recognized as a federal holiday. That does not mean our work is done with demanding equity and justice for our Black friends, family members, brothers and sisters. And it's, it's equatable to Pride Month. It all coalesces because together, if one of us is not free, none of us are free. So as you go about your day, go about the rest of the month, just think about those two things. There are several celebrations still occurring for both of those events. And I encourage you all to go out and seek those out, support Black businesses, support queer businesses. And yeah, so thank you, Julie, for letting me speak for a minute, and I will turn it back over to you.
All righty, perfect. Those were most of the announcements. I didn't have any blaringly obvious birthdays to celebrate. One of our community members, Clay Bollinger, is participating in an Ironman triathlon. So great job to Clay Bollinger. We are wishing you well and hoping that you get all your events done with fun and no injuries and a good time to be had by all. I know they posted, Clay and Melanie posted some really fun signs that their kids made as athletic supporters. So congratulations on making it to the race day, and we look forward to updates on how the race went. With that being said, we are going to go into our community moment. David Ricks is one of our for those of you who may be new, our community moment is an opportunity for someone in our very own local community or abroad. Sometimes we'll have guest community moments from other Oasis in America, just to kind of share an experience or a story or something that they found really interesting. And today, David is going to be teaching us about something amazing. David, take it away.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me do a screen share. Okay, this is the story of how I almost became a creationist. The trouble started in the 3rd grade. I thought it was just a simple documentary on solar system formation. And while the VHS fascinated me with a narrative of accumulating planetesimals and the kindling of our own sun from the accretion disk, when I went home to tell my parents about this video, I was told in no uncertain terms that naturalistic theories of origins had no place in the Ricks solar system. It was fine to be curious, as long as my curiosity led to God did it. But I took this lesson to heart. Sheltered in a creationist cocoon, I grew up not only believing in divine creation, but I was led to believe in it so much so that I was, with full support of my parents, planning on carving out a career as a speaker for biblical literalism. My folks even paid for speech coaching lessons. My speech coach was a pleasant Catholic lady who was rather bemused by the whole enterprise. The papacy had long ago come to terms with Darwinism and modern astronomy. Why bother to get agitated over the question at all? But it still matters. The answer I would give today is eons away from what I told that speaking coach 2 decades ago. I bring this up now in these divisive times because these are divisive times. My personal journey into and out of religious fundamentalism can serve as a poignant portrait into the mindset on the other side. This crowd has largely figured out the evolution versus creation question, but we can't forget how many still haven't, including this sitting Congresswoman, who is unable to accept a brute fact of biology and is thus incapable of rational legislating. How can she be trusted to handle a pandemic? My story serves as a reminder to never become unshakably confident about any proposition, and also confirmation that even the most thoroughly indoctrinated can break free given the drive to learn. The culmination of my adventures in science denialism took place at an Answers in Genesis conference over a weekend of magical thinking down in Kentucky. It was a wide selection of the cutting edge of the movement. Names like Werner Gitt, Michael Ord, Jonathan Sarfati, and other anti-science luminaries. But I bought into the whole thing, hook, line, and sinker, with the confidence of the adolescent who doesn't know what he doesn't know, just as I was raised to. This creation conference was the capstone to years of pseudoscience indoctrination at my home church. I would learn just enough real facts of biology to kindle a lifelong interest in the subject, with inaccurate caricatures of evolution as the appeal to just random chance. Growing up, I was regaled with half-truths about an astonishing array of biota, like the spicy bombardier beetle, who synthesized a component of rocket fuel in its abdomen that it uses to blast enemies with boiling water. This chemistry was so volatile that it obviously couldn't have come about by evolutionary randomness. Wouldn't the beetle detonate itself? So I thought. Of course, the beetle needs this attack to fight off the toads and frogs the Christian God must have also created to eat beetles. So whose side is God on? I ended up ignoring the inherent paradox of an intelligent designer who creates prey versus predator defense systems to pit against each other during the time of that AIG conference. But there were little gems of biology that stimulated my fascination for the topic while giving me the feeling that I was uncovering secret knowledge. But learning the complex defense mechanisms of well-adapted species made me want to know more. So here I am in a campground in Kentucky, surrounded by hundreds of creationists exchanging our favorite objections with Darwinism, including the president of the organization, Ken Ham, known for his debate with Bill Nye in 2014. The objections to evolution from his crowd usually boil down to, it's just so complicated, and biology and mutations in biology can't create information. Spoiler alert, they totally can. And various other critical misunderstandings. To go deeper into the mindset I was taught from birth, the science of evolution became analogous to medieval witchcraft, definitely evil, something all good Christians must oppose. And as a consequence, this mindset limits your ability to learn about the mechanisms of evolution for the same reason you wouldn't want to learn a spell on how to summon a demon, although maybe some in this crowd would consider it. This, of course, is rooted in culture war anxiety. Ken Ham, the founder and president of AIG, has a manifesto where he blames all the social hobgoblins that so irritate the political right on the secularism that he attributes to a proper understanding of Darwinism. In this view, absolute biblical literalism becomes the antidote, and other Christians are distracted from the real enemy, not only evolution, but cosmology, geology, that video from my third grade class on planet formation. Anything from these fields that contradicts Iron Age Hebrew folklore is a threat to be fought. And the consilience between different branches of the natural sciences represents an enemy army of hostile lies. And at the time, it didn't occur to me to wonder too much about why the all-knowing Christian God would create a world with the appearance of being so at odds with the testament that we're supposed to believe in. But all of us at that gathering were entirely convinced of our rightness. And to teach us the actual facts of biology was a Sisyphean task, futile, because the facts I needed to correct my misunderstanding were evil, so I had to reject them. After all, if you teach kids they came from animals, they'll behave like animals. So goes the folksy bias that crowd swears by. Of course, the sociological data doesn't support this at all, but that was just more forbidden, biased, liberal knowledge. And likewise, if you believe, as I was taught when I was young, that all high-level biologists are part of a conspiratorial cabal to fabricate lies about their own field in order to escape a perceived religious responsibility to Jesus, well, you could also believe that every election precinct in the country somehow undetectably manufactured fake votes despite all the safeguards and redundancies. But the former claim was long before I had any idea how academic peer review works. So during that weekend, I reaffirmed my commitment to learn the secret biology I was sure must be kept from us. Somewhere, I discover irrefutable evidence of a heavenly, intelligent designer and speak publicly about the mysteries of life scientists were keeping from us, presumably so they could sin? Sadly, during my college and graduate years, I never got invited to a single cocaine orgy. What I did discover was a money-making niche Answers in Genesis had discovered. Passing the collection plate the day I was there at the Creation Conference netted the organization $15,000 in one afternoon, as I can personally attest. But much more revenue, of course, comes from selling homeschool pseudoscience products to science denialists. And I kept on discovering. The first major chink in my armor came when I attempted to set up a local creationist group at my university, based inside the Baptist Student Union building. But the minister who ran it explained that he rejected creationism. I was floored. I thought Baptists were conservative. But not all Christians agreed that evolution was a satanic deception. Could evolution truly be a valid hypothesis? Another watershed check came when I was researching population genetics, and I was forced to dive deeply into really dense technical journals in the library. And I came to realize, despite my bluster, I couldn't refute the PhD level data and methodology in these thick tomes, and that frightened me. I realized for the first time that I was afraid of knowledge, and the futility of that aversion shook me. I needed to find a way to up my game. So over the intervening years, I ended up drifting away from creationist organizations. There was no immediate financial payoff for me, and the mountains of evolutionary biology would take much more effort to climb. I was also growing disillusioned with my church. There was probably some sort of intelligent designer, but it might be very different from what I was indoctrinated to believe. The problem is I remained curious and had to keep trying to crack the riddle. How did mainstream biologists explain the transition of toothed whales to baleen? Why were they so sure dinosaurs became birds? And could they be so confident in human evolution after the fraud of Piltdown Man? I had to have answers, and it became more important to unravel the truth than shoring up any existential angst that motivates the leaders of the largest creationist groups in their circular reasoning. With each real answer I uncovered, another strand of the web of natural history revealed itself, with my curiosity avalanching. At an accelerated pace, I was traveling down the Damascus Road backwards, and it was hard to kick against the pricks when the beam was in my own eye. I'm a preacher's kid, so some Bible references are inevitable. Until finally, I broke down completely and started binge watching paleoanthropology documentaries on Netflix. The most important thing I learned was how hard it would be to remain a lifelong committed creationist. And that was only the beginning. I would need arguments to defeat the existence of over 20 fossilized species of apparent ape men. I would need to convince myself that the dozen intermediate whales smoothly transitioning from land to water and teeth to baleen was some kind of freak coincidence. I'd also need a reason why deactivated primitive genes from apparent prior stages in our descent have been identified. Why should humans and mammals need a broken gene to make egg yolk when we don't lay eggs? An all-powerful, intelligent designer invested in me not believing in descent with modification could simply have not left any of these disabled ancestral traces. But it could be I'm wrong about all this. A deeply committed creationist could attempt to cast doubt on all these findings alone, but I could no longer be that creationist. The web of life presents a body of discoveries that align with and reveal each other. The findings were exactly what we should expect to see if Darwin's dangerous idea was true all along. But if Yahweh is sitting up in a cloud somewhere with a lightning bolt in hand, expecting me to believe in an earth younger than the Enuma Elish and to embrace the rib story, as Robert Green Ingersoll would put it, he certainly made it difficult to get the right answer. The unfolding richness of natural history illuminates the grandeur of this view of life, touching upon all the natural sciences for a living tapestry infinitely more vivid than the empty blusterings of primitive scripture. My appreciation underscores both the resilience and fragility of a pale blue dot. And it is up to us whether we embrace the reality in the rock layers and our own selves, or cling bitterly to Iron Age folklore and fail to protect the legacy of 4.5 billion years. And that is all I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Wow, I can tell you put a lot of work into that. That was super interesting. I'm kind of glad that all didn't work out for you. You seem a little happier now than you might have been. Very cool. Just if anybody has questions, of course you can talk to David during our coffee break, which will be coming up. And then of course, you can stick around at the end. Maybe David can answer any questions you guys might have. So we are going to transition into our coffee break. Our guest speaker has arrived. So welcome. We are so glad that you're here. Thank you for coming. And Nikki, whenever you're ready, if you want to send us into those breakout rooms.
Hold on a second. Little technical glitch happening. It's all good.
Well, hello everyone. I'm going to give us a few moments to make sure everybody is gathered back from our time in breakout rooms. Hopefully everybody got to have a nice conversation. As we get rolling back into our main program today, sorry, I'm kind of low there. We're going to have some more music from Mike and James today, and then our featured speaker is here as well, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about some comedian type stuff. So Mike and James, whenever you guys are ready, it is your time.
All right.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Oh, those songs are so fun. Just, I don't know. I could listen to that all day. Thank you so much, Mike and James. We are going to transition over to our featured speaker. Let me see, get my notes up here. So a quick introduction as we get Mark ready to go. Mark is a comedian based out of Ohio and been performing his brand of darkly humorous trauma poetry for nearly a decade across the Midwest. I'm not going to go too much more into it, but Mark, whenever you're ready, please feel free to introduce yourself a little bit more and take us away with whatever you had planned.
Okay. Hi. Can everybody hear me okay? We good? Awesome. Sorry, I'm in my work uniform because like any real artist, I have a day job. When I was over there in the coffee break, I was talking with Mark and Sarah about what I should talk about. I had a whole thing written up, like Nikki told me to go through my my journey, my life journey with comedy. I'm just gonna tell jokes instead. So I'm sorry about that. Sorry, Nikki. Imagine one day you wake up with a giant snake wrapped around your torso. Just a big ass snake wrapped all the way around your torso. And you can't get it off. It won't leave, won't stop hissing, it won't leave you alone. If you think this is a dick joke, you will be surprised. Giant snake wrapped around your torso. So you go about your daily life with this giant snake wrapped around your torso. All day, every day. You try to tell somebody about it. And they say, hey man, nobody here wants to talk about the giant snake wrapped around your torso. That's a personal problem. Why don't you go talk to somebody who cares about the giant snake wrapped around your torso? Why don't you go try talking to your mom about it? So you do. You get lunch with your mom. You're having a great time. And your mom asks you how you're doing. And you say, Mom, everything's fine except for this giant snake wrapped around my torso. Sometimes it's so tight, it keeps me in bed all day and there's nothing I can do about it. It won't even let me get out of bed, Mom. And then your mom responds with, stop. Why do you even have a giant snake wrapped around your torso? Am I a bad mother? I don't want to hear it. If you need to talk to somebody about the giant snake wrapped around your torso, then you need to talk to somebody who cares, like a snake charmer. So you do. You look for a snake charmer. It takes a little bit longer than necessary to find one that takes your insurance. And you go up to the snake charmer and you say, Mr. Snake Charmer, sir, I have this giant snake wrapped around my torso and it holds me down and it keeps me in bed and it makes it very hard to live my life. Is there something that you can do about it? And the snake charmer says, absolutely. Absolutely. We can give you topics of conversation to have with the snake that will calm the snake down, allegedly. But the snake knows how to learn, so you need to constantly re-up your topics of conversation to have with the snake forever. Alternatively, we can give you a big goofy shirt that goes on over the snake and smothers it, but you have to walk around and never feel quite like yourself. And sometimes the shirt just makes the snake angry. So you walk around wearing this big goofy shirt, never feeling quite like yourself. And then one day it happens, the snake gets angry. You wake up and it's tied around your torso as tight as it can be, and it's wrapped its way around your arms and it's wrapped its way around your legs, and it's holding you down in bed and it's hissing in your ear louder and louder and louder over and over and over again until finally you say, okay, snake, you win, you win. Go ahead and take me. And the snake bites you and you pass out. You wake up in a hospital bed, bright lights, surrounded by your friends and family. They look at you and they go, honey, if the giant snake wrapped around your torso was bothering you, you should have told somebody. And through tears in your eyes and a crack in your voice, you respond, thought I wasn't supposed to talk about my penis. It was a dick joke the whole time. Anyway, guys, can we give it up for the troops? All right, yeah, the troops. Cool. Yeah, guys, give it up for the troops. Without the troops, there would be no freedom, right? Right. Guys, real fast, can we give it up for war? Because without war, there would be no troops. Guys, real fast, can we get up for the Geneva Convention? Because without the Geneva Convention meeting and discussing and establishing the parameters for what constitutes a war crime, it would be difficult for us collectively to stomach the idea of war. Guys, one more time for the Geneva Convention. Guys, real fast, can we give it up for the GI Bill? Because without the GI Bill, it would be very, very difficult to trick young men and women right out of high school into laying their lives on the line for the dick swinging contest of our world leaders. Guys, real fast, give it up for the GI Bill. Thank you, Kirsten. That's the world's greatest catfish. You thought you were going to get college, but you didn't. You got PTSD. I'm a vegetarian, and sometimes people take that personally. It bothers them. They hate it, and then they speak to me different. You know, they start speaking to me the way that creepy dudes do lesbians. You know, like, I bet I could change your mind. You just haven't had the right meat. I'm going to take you down to KFC where they measure food in buckets. The skin is the best part. The skin is the best part, that creepy serial killer shit. But I'm a cuck because I like salad. I don't judge people for their diets. I'm not, I don't really care if you're a carnivore. That doesn't bother me. I do judge you if you draw the line when it comes to certain animals. You know, and I don't mean like pets like cats or dogs. But I have a friend who, she says, I'll eat fish, but I won't eat pig because pigs are so intelligent. Did you know that you can teach pigs to do math? Yeah, but you know who you can't teach math? My friend Anthony. And I don't think that's enough to make him food. David won't eat dolphins because you're a coward, David. So this is I heard this is like a secular organization, so I figured you guys might appreciate some of this. I was raised in an evangelical Christian household, where premarital sex was a big no-no, right? And like so much so that like my cousin didn't hold hands with her husband until their wedding day. Very intense, very serious about it. And you know, when it comes to like premarital sex, et cetera, I don't think I could do it. You know, not because I'm a pig, but just like I'm not a gambling man. You know. Okay. Imagine you meet the guy of your dreams. You know, he's everything you love. He's tall, dark, handsome. He's funny. He's charming. He gets along well with your parents. And you guys date for a while. And then you get engaged, and then you have a beautiful wedding, you have a beautiful reception, and then that night, it comes time to consummate the marriage. And then your new husband walks in, and he drops his underpants, and where his penis should be, antlers. Oh dear. This is going great. Yeah, Kirsten, you're gonna fall in love with me by the end of this. And if you're into women, don't worry. This is the part of the joke where it's your turn. You meet the woman of your dreams. She's tall, dark, handsome, everything you ever wanted. Witty, gets along with your parents, etc., etc. You you have a beautiful wedding. You have a beautiful reception. That night, your new wife walks into the room wearing some saucy lingerie. She drops her underpants. Does she have a cooter? Nope. She's got a gun! My family sent me to a gay conversion camp when I was 13. And I'm not gay, you know, so I guess it worked. No, I'm kidding. I've actually never been gay. So I've actually never been gay. So you might be wondering, if I've never been gay, why did they send me to a gay conversion camp? And it's because they caught me pretending to be a girl on the internet. And you know, because I'm like everybody else, I just want somebody to want to touch me, essentially. That's where I get my self-esteem from, nowhere else. So they caught me and they sent me to the camp. And, you know, when people find out about that, they ask me all these questions about it. Like, what was it like? You know, because it sounds so spooky and it sounds so scary, right? It sounds horrible, the gay conversion camp. And it's not that bad. It's really not. It's like a regular summer camp, except everything's just a little bit different. Just a little bit off to the side. Like, we had archery, but we had to pray about it. You know? Oh, Kirsten, thank you for the friend request on Facebook. We had you know, we had spooky stories around the campfire, but they were all about vampires who were HIV positive. And at night, the counselor would come into the cabin and he would be like, all right, I'm gonna turn these lights off and leave you guys alone. Leave you guys alone all night. You room full of 12 horny, repressed gay boys. Dark room all night alone. There better not be any shenanigans. And then he would turn off the light and leave. And I would listen to the dulcet, wet tones of 10 horny, repressed gay boys banging each other. You might be wondering, there's 12 guys in the room, 10 of them banging each other. What happened there? And that's because one of them was me, and the other one was the poor sad sap who had the bad luck of being bunked right below the only straight guy at the gay conversion camp. He's a pastor now, and sometimes I feel like that's my fault. I like falling in love. I do like falling in love. The first time I fell in love, I met her online. Her name was Green Day Girl _ 1992. And she was amazing. She was a lot of firsts for me. She was the first time saying, I love you. She was the first time that anybody had complimented my hair and my eyes. And she was just lovely. We would talk all night. We had cyber sex. That was the first time. It was very exciting, you know. And then one day, Green Day Girl _ 1992 asked me if I would send her a naked picture of myself. And you know, I was 11, and I grew up fat. So this was both like exciting and terrifying for me, you know. But I did it. I created child pornography of myself, and I sent it to Green Day Girl _ 1992. And then she never spoke to me again. And I've carried this with me for years. You know, I've carried this rejection with me. And I firmly believe that rejection has tainted my approach to relationships ever since. But recently I got curious, and I decided to do some research. And I found out that Green Day Girl _ 1992 is still using the same email address from back in the day. And that email address is still connected to some currently active social media accounts. And I'm happy to report, you guys, I didn't frighten away my first love with my floppy boy body. Oh no, no. I just disappointed a pedophile. And according to his LinkedIn, he's doing very well for himself. So I think I'm going to turn gold digger and try to get back in there a little bit. To be fair, Nikki told me not to worry about offending you guys. So blame it on Nikki. Oh my God. Love. I do like love. Can I tell you guys another story about another time I fell in love? I'm going to tell you anyway, unless you kick me out and you can't stop me. The second and most intense time I ever fell in love, it was in ninth grade, 14 years old. And I met this girl and I wanted to impress her. And I wanted to come up with something that was going to impress her and get her attention, right? So my big move, my big plan was to plan a school shooting. You know, it made sense at the time, all right? My dad had guns, I had a school, she liked Marilyn Manson, and when you Googled him, Columbine was the first thing that popped up. I just brought it all together, right? Perfect cocktail of mistake. She was not impressed. Didn't get the girl. I did not get the girl. I got a meeting face to face with the high school guidance counselor, and she's looking at me going, "Mark, I hear you're a very ambitious young man." I did not get the girl. No, instead, I got an all-expense-paid trip to a long-term psychiatric care facility. But where one love dies, another one blossoms. Because my first night in that facility, I met the most perfect girl. Oh my God, her room was right across the hall from mine. We weren't allowed to leave our rooms, but we could leave the doors open and talk all night. She sat behind me and next to me at every meal. She was lovely, and she had the most adorable little quirk, you guys. She loved eating toothpaste, and she was good at it too. Oh my God, man, her teeth were so clean and her stomach was so pumped. She was so good at eating toothpaste, they didn't let her have it. So the second dumbest thing I've ever done to impress a girl was wait until the security guys had their heads turned and I slipped her a pristine unopened tube of some contraband Colgate. She was impressed. She was very impressed. That night when we were sitting in our rooms talking to each other from across the hall, she looked at me and she said, "Mark, that toothpaste was probably the sweetest thing that anybody's ever done." And given the circumstances, I think I believe her. And she said, "Mark, I want to do something special for you in return." So she disappeared from the doorway. And then a few moments later, she reappeared, completely topless. And you know, the first time that you see breasts in person is a very important moment in a young man's life. And I'm never going to forget it. I'm never going to forget it. Because what she did next was reach into the waistband of her hospital pajamas, pull out a butter knife as she snatched from the cafeteria, and I watched as she slowly carved my name into her chest. And that's how I knew that she was not the one. Because if she really cared about me, if she really loved me the way that I love her, and she would know that I spell Mark with a K, not a C. When we were over at the coffee break, there was that guy in there. His name is Mark as well. And he was chatting with me, and he said, none of it, as I was talking to him, he said, "None of this is funny. You're just making me depressed." And I really wonder if anything's changed. How much time do I have left? What's going on? It doesn't matter. The first time I tried to kill myself, I was 12. Um, all the kids at middle school were making fun of me for being fat, and took that personally. So I went home and I asked Jeeves the proper way to tie a noose. It wasn't that hard. I found this closet in my home that had this strong metal bar across the top of it. And I thought that would be strong enough to support my weight. So I went in there and I got up on the stool and I tied it around that strong metal bar and I tied the noose around my neck. I whispered a quick prayer, kicked out the stool from underneath me. Spoiler alert, I did not die. Instead, I landed flat on my ass and I looked up to see a frayed rope and that strong metal bar that was supposed to support my weight bent in a V shape, coming out several inches on either side of the wall. So, too fat to live and just too fat to die. We call that natural selection limbo. Thanks, Kirsten. We're gonna be friends, Kirsten. I like you a lot. You guys ever go ghost hunting? That's when a girl stops responding to your text so you show up at her house. I'm on a lot of Prozac. Like so much Prozac that my doctor has to get permission from a medical board to give me the proper dosage of it. And I have to go in every 6 months to get re-upped on that. But what that means is that it's hard for me to come. And what that means is that when I'm getting intimate, I like to stay focused. You know, lights off, no music, phones off, everything's on silent. And I'm just in, right? Because I need to zero in on the moment or else it's all gone. And what that means is that a year ago and one day, I think so. Yeah. Holy shit. A year and a day ago today, I was having sex, not trying to brag. And you know, it went well. But then when we came out of the throes of ecstasy and I turned over my phone that had been on silent, I saw that I had 9 missed calls from my mom. And I called her back and then she told me that my dad had just died. Which, whiplash. You know, I don't know how to function with the fact that, like, you know, he died while I supplied, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, that he went off to a better place while I finished on her face, you know what I mean? He didn't make it, but she didn't fake it, you know? He kicked the bucket, you get the idea. You get the idea. Yeah, happy Father's Day. I almost forgot about that. Sorry. My dad was a heroin addict, but he was a smart heroin addict who named me after him. So, you know, when he ran out of things to steal from the people around him, as long as nobody looked too closely at the social security numbers on applications, he could take out all sorts of shit in my name. And he died a year and a day ago. And then last week I got notification that a motorcycle that I never bought is about to get repossessed. It's like he never left. I'm gonna do one more. I heard there's supposed to be a Q&A or something like that. I don't know if you guys want to do that. I understand if you want me to leave, but I will but I will get out of here on one more. I never know like where the division is exactly between performer and audience. I never know. Clearly I never know really what the line is, or like what's too personal, what's too much for people that don't know me, what's not enough for people that don't know me. What's too concerning, what's not funny, what's too depressing, blah blah blah. Been doing this almost a decade, and I still don't know how to find that balance, which is okay. It's not important to me. But I like to end my sets with like just a moment where I can just be honest and be truthful, and have a real moment that we can actually connect, and I can tell you how things really are. And if I'm being honest with you, I called the suicide hotline this morning. Did you know they're allowed to put you on hold? That's the end of my set. Thank you.
I am so torn. I don't know if I should be excited or laugh more or like, come over and hug you. I'm delightfully confused, which I'm sure is what you were aiming for. So thank you so much for joining us today. I know we probably got lots of laughs. Sarah texted me and she's like, Julie, your face is ridiculous. And I'm like, I'm sorry. This is the only one I have. And when funny things happen, I just, my face, no poker face. Thank you so much for sharing your jokes with us. I'm hoping some of those things were exaggerated. And if they're not, maybe we should talk more, just saying.
No, I have a therapist.
Say it again.
I have a therapist. She's.
Does she help you take care of your snake?
Yeah, no, she doesn't think I'm funny at all, though.
Okay. Did we have any questions for, Kirsten was wondering if the mattress selling is just money laundering.
No, I thought so too. Before I took this job, it turns out it's just the profit margin and the overhead is humongous. Like if one Tempur-Pedic, I pay my rent for 3 months. Like it's just ridiculous. That's why there's like 8 mattress firms in every city.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm sure. And the other question was, how many mattresses do you typically sell during a given day?
During the weekday, probably 2 during the week. On the weekend, maybe 4 or 5 each day.
All right.
Yeah. Technically, I locked the front door, so I'm not selling anything right now.
Oh yeah, you're just like closed for lunch.
Yeah, but I'm
gotta tell some jokes. I'm Snake.
Buy one mattress, get a joke-free deal.
That's a good one.
I am so charming and so funny. They get like 8 of them when I'm selling the mattress. I don't tell them these jokes.
You don't tell them the good jokes, is what you're saying.
Tell me.
Do you tell them like, where do pencils come from? I'm sure you know that one, right?
Where do pencils come
from? Pennsylvania.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, see?
Did you hear about the hole in the wall at the nudist colony?
I didn't.
Police are looking into it.
Oh, that's as they should. If they're, fastidious, you making sure.
I didn't write that one.
Mickey's very excited about it though, so. All right, guys. If there are no more questions, suppose we're gonna do some more music, and I'm gonna tell you about a little bit of our Oasis merch. So if Mark wants to keep the doors locked a little longer, maybe we can chat more. Importantly, though, David said, "Why did the monkey fall out of the tree?"
Why?
Appropriate pause. David because he was dead.
I love it.
Because he was dead. Yeah, that's. Thank you, David, for your important contribution. We're going to have Mike and James play us out one last song, and then I'm going to tell you about some of the cool merch that we've got. Mike and James, please take it away.
Piano, Brian Haas. Brian Haas, special guest on piano. Happy Sunday.
All right. Wow, I'm excited that I don't know if that was planned for him to show up or if he's just like, hey, I'm in the area. We're going to play the piano. Thank you so much, Brian, for tagging in. Mike, we are so pleased to have you here. Thanks to JJ for setting up another visit from you, and James for helping out as well. That is such a cool combination of, you know, all three instruments together, were the two of you. Thank you for your time with us today. I'm going to switch gears just slightly and share with you guys a little bit of information from our Oasis private page. I had a note here, so for those of you who want to follow along, I'm going to paste this into our group chat. We have some cool merch that we are trying to get out to you. So from Facebook, I'm going to kind of walk you through. I'll share my screen here in a second and walk you through here. Can everybody see my little friend moving around? So once you're in the Oasis private group, you're going to click on More and Media. Once you're in that media, you'll see Albums. And this second one here is Oasis Merchandise. And Sarah and the Oasis team have put together some really great, you know, super clear images I'll flip through these. Are people more important than beliefs? We've got our hoodie, be accepting and be accepted. Human hands solve human problems. Our Oasis tote bag, travel mugs. I had one of these. I think it ran away from me. I don't know where, but these are great. I might get another one. And then our ornaments and buttons. I know I had a kid who submitted one of those buttons. So grab some buttons, grab some gear. You can do all of your purchases through Sarah's email, her KC Oasis right here, kcoasis.org. Sarah can be reached there for those orders and payment information. And there is a local discount. So I'm sure she'll give you a little bit more information about how the local discounts work. But I know a lot of us are local, so yay, perks. But we can be mindful of that for things like, hey, we have out of town guests and we want to encourage them to wear our Oasis merch. Christmas is coming, winter festival, however you celebrate. So whatever you guys can think of, please reach out to Sarah so we can get that merch out of boxes and onto bodies. That being, we're going to wrap up for our day. Mark is available to hang around for a little bit for more, of our dark humor. You got hearted yard decor. Oh, hold on. She said there's another one. Let me see. You've been hearted. There's a little bit more. Hold on. I'm going to show you this one. You've been hearted. Someone at Oasis loves you. People are more important. So there's hearts and like little heart sprinkles. So you can annoy some, this is the little catch, she says, annoy someone while showing you care. For $30 Oasis donation, we will decorate someone's yard. We have one large heart at at Oasis Loves You sign, 30 white hearts and 20 small rainbow flags on request. So you can contact Sarah and she will get that scheduled. The cat is not included, so please be mindful. If you need a black and white cat decoration, you have to find your own. Thank you, Sarah, for clarifying. I am super excited about that. I know our HOA rules specifically say don't put signs in your yard, so I made sure my big Oasis in this house we believe sign was right out front. So nobody said anything yet, so we'll go with that. Anybody comments, questions, please put them in the chat. We are going to end our live feed here in just a moment, but you guys are of course welcome to stay around and visit and chat, and Mark will be here until he has a new customer that rings the doorbell. So, all right, take care.